I came to Butler County when I was discharged from the Army in 1970 and been there ever since. As a result, obviously, of being here in El Dorado, I was privileged to help Marv McGowan, a great guy, and Governor Hayden in the early days of the hunt. I was not particularly a real fan of the hunt, but I was a real fan of Governor Hayden and Marv McGowan. And I thought it was my responsibility to help them make the hunt a success as it was. There's been a myriad of marvelous experiences. The times that we spent with Jimmy Houston were wonderful. Met lots of marvelous people. The governor of Wyoming, Mike Sullivan, came to town, and the times that we had with each other, the friendships that established with most of the guides and maybe landowners whom we would not have normally come in contact, became great friends. All of us who worked on the hunt, and many who worked much harder than I did, made great contributions to our community. The best part about the hunt was the way in which the community came together and worked for a common project, and loved it. The Saturday night dinners were, 500 or 600 people, it seemed, and just a great way for a community to get together. Well, I had read a whole bunch of Gene Hill stuff in Sports and Field, and David Sundgren and I hosted him, and I thought he was a marvelous guy. Probably the funnest guy had to be Jimmy Houston. I had, like every fisherman, seen Jimmy on television, and this was before cell phones, and everybody could be reached easily. I said to Marv, how about if I invite him up and we'll go hunting? Fishing together. I've got some great permission to fish on some great waters. So I called Jimmy, and he came up and spent a lot of time with him. For a character, Jimmy might win, but there were lots of just marvelous guys and women, but some great times, yeah. John Moore and I, for years, were responsible for choosing the youngsters for the hunt. John and I purchased a gun each year for several years to give to the guide whom we thought contributed most to the hunt. There have been so many outstanding guests, but I'm reminded of Mark Elliott. Mark returned back to New York or wherever he lived at the time and spoke to his friend, Reed Farley. Reed said, "Who's this guy Mike Hayden, the governor?" And Elliott said, well, I told him about it. He said, wow, that's Mike Hayden, who was my boss, who was my platoon leader when I was in Vietnam. Shortly thereafter, Reed was invited and came to the hunt as Mike's special guest. Reed and Mike were at the country club, and they were telling war stories, and in one sense, it was somewhat entertaining and somewhat horrific, but the bond those guys had from Vietnam certainly had a dramatic effect. And how strange it was that someone out of the blue comes here from New York and goes back and has a friend who was Mike's platoon sergeant in Vietnam. And it just kind of demonstrated that it's kind of a small country.